Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, Umber Rays, and well, I'm a little late getting into this video tonight because, well, life can be a busy thing sometimes, so yeah, not much else to say about that. Let's just get into it, shall we? And obviously this is the music we're playing, because let's face it, the only really huge thing that happened today was CG Lightning, and I will talk about her in a little bit, but first, we have to go over some stuff that has happened in the game, because there has been actually quite a big number of updates, least of which is to talk about just just a massive amount of stuff that got put into the game, and some stuff that we didn't even know that was going to happen. So, first of all, let's take a look at the Weapon Enhancement Raid. It is back for a total of 20 days, and well, when we are looking at this weapon raid, you can see that it's not as good as last month. The level 4 abilities are available on greatswords, guns, and daggers, and at least one of those is going to be pretty good for the upcoming event, so yeah, we'll take what we can get, although would have been nice to see swords on there. God damn it. So, moving on, there is a extra lapis sale on right now, currently on the JP side. So if you are looking to get a little more value out of your lapis purchases, well, now is the perfect time to do that. The 8800 lapis is going to be having a bonus extra 1000 lapis. This doesn't happen very often, so take it for what it's worth. Usually we get either an EX point up or, something like that. So this is perfectly fine. More sales, the better. And this also goes really nicely with the fact that the EX point system has been improved, which was another thing I needed to talk about anyway. So basically the rewards have gotten better on the JP side, including bigger trust Moogle. I don't think we ever had that before. King level max cactars, as well as King burst pots, as well as some other stuff. Big rewards are mostly the same where they were, except at the end at 600 points, now you get a blank Moogle container. So yeah, Moogle containers have officially lost pretty much all of their frickin' value now. Very interested to see if Special Week in Arena will change to Super Trust Moogles to up the motivation of people. But for now, doesn't look like that's going to happen. Knock on wood. And we are also hitting our 35 million download. Now, this will also be happening on Global, but we don't know exactly what Global will get right now. We do know what JP will get, and that is 3 free 11 polls during specific time periods. We'll also get a total of 3,500 lapis over the month of November, which, extra lapis I guess is okay. It's kind of really spread out though, so that kind of sucks. And there'll also be a raffle again. So 90,000 people will get 350 lapis. It'd be nice to get something this time. 350 people will get 3,500 lapis, 35 people will get 35,000 lapis, and 3 lucky people will get 350,000 lapis. Best of luck to all of you. I hope that I fucking win. Oh my god, he wasn't very nice to his viewers. No, he wasn't. Anyway, we'll also note that there is kind of a little bit of a banner going on. Nothing particularly that special, just talking about kind of stuff that we already heard. I don't think that's anything interesting. We had some extended maintenance tonight. We've talked a little bit about what was upgraded, and we'll talk about that. Oh, look at all the nice stuff we can skip. So before that, we should talk about some of the stuff that was found in the data before we get to our main topic. Now, first of all, just what to talk about. Madam's Mansion seems to be getting an update to a 3rd level. This is kind of interesting because Madam's Mansion has not been mentioned. It has not been talked about. It's just, I guess, something we get every now and then, and we should be grateful for it, I guess. But, yes, Alum has put out the, basically a 3rd... Where did my information go? Oh god, it just buggered right. Oh, I hit the wrong. I guess it's almost Halloween, so spooky things are happening. Too spooky for me. But, yes, Madam's Mansion looks to be getting a 3rd floor. It's about fucking time. Now, if only we could see 10-man trials. hey, we kind of be back on the path that we should be going on. There was also 2 new pieces of music that were apparently put in the game too. These are Battle Advent and Battle Advent True, so I'm not sure if they are what they are replacing, but... Oop. Pretty cool little new piece of music, and the true version... So yeah, not bad pieces of music. It's kind of nice just to hear something new be put into the game for a main piece of music. So, or a piece of music that will be used, I should say. So, not entirely sure where it is used, but kind of nice that it is there. It should also be noted that the Super TMR update that I thought was in this one is not yet, because we didn't get an app update. We actually just got a regular update. So whenever the next app update is, that is when the new Super TMR ability will be added to the game, which basically means you can use a Super TMR in place of a TMR and still get that unit's TMR ability. Shame that, but there you go. Now, before we talk about the Final Fantasy XIII event, let's talk about something that was data mined. And as a matter of fact, it looks like the announcement will be on November 5th, with the actual event starting on November 7th in the game. But the sprites were added to the game, and that looks to be a World of Final Fantasy group of units. Both Rain and Lan will be added to the game. I think it's Rain, right? It's been a while since I played that game. Anyway, Rain and Lan look to be a 4 to 6 star character, and honestly, I really love the chibi units. It's super cute. And for people complaining that they're only 4 to 6 star units, shush. I really would actually like to get these units because their freaking limit burst is Bahamut. I mean, come on. Like, I need this. I need this in my life, you guys. It would be much, much better if this would be a little bit easier on me, considering that the Final Fantasy XIII event will probably not. Also... something weird was going on with the animation. At least we captured it for video's sake. But not just those 2 characters. You may be asking, well, that's a 4 to 6 star. What is the 5 star characters for that banner? Well, say hello to your new chibi version of Yuna. As you thought regular Yuna was cute, well, chibi Yuna is here to just destroy you. Now, a 5 to 7 star version of Yuna should be much better than her regular version. We don't have any details about their kits yet. That data is not in the game. Just the sprites, probably that will be added closer to the event. So, if nothing else for Yuna fans, hey, it may not be CG Yuna, but it's something new and something potentially quite powerful that could be another way to get that unit into your party. So, best of luck to all of you guys. And that's not all, because we also have Chibi Squall. That's right, Chibi Squall is here with his awesome looking limit burst. Is Chibi Squall going to be better than regular Squall? Probably. Do I have anything to back that up? Not a bit. So it could be that these are just chibi versions of the characters and we'll have the exact same kits as the regular units, but I really doubt that, seeing how both Yuna and, well, Squall with enhancements is pretty good, but pretty damn good, I should say. But really, when I'm looking at this, probably these are going to be new, very powerful versions of these units. We'll just have to wait and see what they end up being, and we should have the details for that on November 7th. Alright, so now we can talk about the Final Fantasy XIII event, which is a Mog King event where we are collecting credit cards? Credit card chips? Anyway, it's basically the same type of event that we already currently know. The Mog King event with special items that you can get. You can also, by getting enough points, get a ticket to get a random 5-star. Nothing wrong with that per se. Bonus units this time are Saz as well as Noel, and Hope as well as Lightning. So those will be our bonus units for all of this. And of course the map system is back, giving us maps for extra EXP rank or resources of all kinds, so nothing really bad there. But let's talk about the part that I think everybody really wants to get into, and that is the units. Well, 10 minutes into this video, okay, let's talk about it. Let's start with Hope. I'm slowly building my way up to the best stuff. So, Hope ended up being kind of a weird unit that I think a lot of people are currently down on, but I am not of the same mind. So let's talk about Hope. His Trust Mastery is, well, maybe, okay, we're not doing him any favors starting off. His Trust Mastery is an 18 attack, 117 magic dagger with 65 spirit. It's pretty okay stats all around, but it doesn't feel anything particularly that great. And in terms of magic, it feels pretty meh, so I'm not entirely sure that this is that great. And looking at his Super TMR, it definitely doesn't feel that great either. 50% magic, 30% MP, and 100% light resistance. Now, you know me, I'm always a fan of elemental resistance, and this is basically just a free pass on the light element really easily. But what I'm not super crazy about is it doesn't even have 60% magic, it only has 30% MP. Compared to some of the other Super TMRs we've seen lately, this feels pretty lackluster, and I think the Trust Mastery isn't much better. If you were wanting to use Hope and get the most out of him, definitely get his Super TMR. And toss that TMR away. I just don't see any value in that dagger. And we'll get more about that into Hope's kit. But first I want to talk about his Limit Burst, because the Limit Burst is a giant positive for me. 7-star maxed out is an AoE minus 100% all element resistance for 1 turn, and an AoE 27 hit with 1525% magic attack and self 400 MP recovery. The MP recovery is just pretty nice. Why did it just drop in temperature all of a sudden? Whew. Anyway, first of all, the all 100% element resistance is really nice, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more when I just look over Hope's kit entirely. But the other thing, the dark magic attack for Alexander, this just feels really weird. I don't clearly remember Final Fantasy XIII that well, because honestly I thought that Hope was Alexander was still a light base boss in that, right? Or am I totally off base? Anyway, AoE 27 hits is pretty nice, and the magic attack side of it is also okay, but I just don't understand. This doesn't really fit with his kit. And speaking of that, Hope's kit is just kind of weird. It has some elemental resistance for water, ice, fire, and thunder. It is actually able to add the thunder element to another unit's attacks. Only single target, but it can be double casted. It's basically in thunder, so it's the first green magic spell that we've seen in the game that adds an element to it that can be double casted. That's kind of interesting. He also has the first magic spell, I think, that has a 100% status ailment resistance for 5 turns to allies, and it's only 28 MP, so it's also capable to be dual casted with him. I think this is just really quite nice. Having that be able to give a full status protection to everyone in the party, as well as potentially add an element in the same turn, or, elemental protection, is really, really good. Hope, I think this is his magic abilities seem pretty good, and he does have natural dual cast, I do believe, right? Yes, he does have dual cast. For some reason, I blanked on that. But yes, dual cast. Looking at his kit is where we start to get just a little bit weird. For one thing, his kit is basically a combination of many different things that he doesn't do anything particularly that well. And for people who are reading his kit, the current way that I am reading his kit is that he is like Elfim. If you're not sure, Elfim debuffs the enemy while buffs your own party. Now, why do I think that? Because basically, Hope's abilities are not really that big of buffs. 120% buff for 5-turn AoE isn't that, big at all, considering some of the other buffers that are currently on the JP side. So I read his abilities more like Elfim. Basically, he will be able to AoE debuff the enemy for 50% defense for 5 turns and buff your party for 120% for attack for 5 turns. So the abilities are opposite, and I think that's really nice. Potentially strengthening where you need to and taking advantage of a weakness. I think that is really good. He also has a way to counter physical attacks on other allies by basically giving a limit burst fill rate for 3 turns to your allies. That's super nice. He has some magic attacks that can also remove all status effects from one enemy. That's pretty cool. His debuffs can all be double cast and basically has one for each of them. He has a single target, 150% attack and magic for 3 turns, and gives some limit burst fill rate. That's just kind of okay. AoE 30% damage reduction for 4 turns, 1000 HP barrier for 4 turns. That's AoE, that's okay again. He has a single target version of defense and spirit, kind of reminding me of Zargaboth at this rate. And he also has an AoE 100% light and dark resistance for 3 turns and AoE 100% stop resistance. And this is something else I like about Hope. Hope does have stop resistance as well as able to give stop resistance to the party. Any unit that has, natural stop or charm resistance, thumbs up. Thumbs up to them always, because they are just one less thing you need to worry about in battle. And so, yeah, but 100% light and dark resistance is pretty valuable, since a lot of, big enemies seem to be focused around either the light or dark element. So being able to give 100% for 3 turns is pretty good. It's just pretty good, you guys. He can regen some MP and give some magic mitigation. He has a better version of AoE Quake. At least I think it's a better version. It's listed as an ability, but either way, it's Quake in some format. But his 2 cooldowns in his 7-star form, 1 debuff spirit for 74% for 1 turn, gives himself a 250% magic boost for 1 turn, and hits with an AoE 1500% magic attack, ignoring 50% spirit for 4 turns. Okay, pretty darn good. And his other cooldown ability, an AoE 150% attack, defense, magic, and spirit for 3 turns, AoE 40% damage reduction for 3 turns on a 6-turn cooldown, available turn 1. He has natural limit burst fail rate. He has 50% Esper stats. He has magic, confuse resist, stop resistance, double casting of his abilities, and he has a permanent 15% damage mitigation on himself. Really, here's the thing that I think about Hope's kit, other than the fact that his weapon selection is just okay. I mean, projectiles, rods, staffs, the main things. Hope is not a healer that I kind of wanted him to be. He is basically a support unit that has some magic attack capabilities. Looking at his stats and passives, he has a fair decent amount of HP and a fairly decent magic and spirit stat. But nothing that seems too spectacular. His defense is also, I think, pretty okay. Here's the thing. A lot of units right now, if you take a look at units like your Raisha or CG Nickel or Primrose, they're all very focused around one key element. And what I think is the strongest part of Hope Kit is this. Natural stop resistance, being able to give stop resistance to the party is always a valuable thing, and means that you can potentially fix on a specific healer instead of potentially needing to switch back and forth. Secondly, his AoE buffs do pair well with Aerith, since Aerith has the ability to buff for 140% for turns, and he can buff for 150% for 3 turns. That basically covers 6 turns right there, and you can just alternate between them, and Hope can still do some magic damage as well as status protection, which basically is something that Aerith is not particularly strong at. She does not have a really good way of protecting the party against status protection. Hope also has the ability to give Thunder Element to characters, and that's really valuable as soon as we start about CG Lightning. But also his Limit Burst fits really well with pretty much any kind of party. Being able to debuff every element in the game of 100% means that he can fit into any boss. Yes, his attack is Dark Element, and Some enemies may absorb that, or some enemies may be immune to that, but if it still debuffs for 100%, even for one turn, it can be a big damage turn for your physical damage dealers. So Hope seems like he is a pretty tanky little support unit that is a better version of Elfim with some better attacking and just some better overall kit. He feels kind of like a overall version of Elfim. Now, if his abilities don't work the exact way, but I'm almost like 99% sure that this is the way that they are supposed to be, debuff the enemy and buff yourself. If not, then his kit is a little bit worse. But I actually think that it is pretty damn solid. And so I think that Hope is actually really, really good. For the fact that he can fit into many different parties. So for new people who are playing the game, absolutely valuable. For people who have every unit, yeah, Hope probably won't necessarily be what you're looking for. But I can see a place where he fits with a lot of different attackers because of the elemental thing. The support thing also pairs off really well with a top tier healer like Aerith or Santa Rosalia. And not only that, he can just, he can still do some pretty good damage and cover 2 of the biggest elements at 100% for 3 turns. And that's nothing to scoff at, you guys. And he has, between dual cast and double casting his abilities, he has a fair amount of flexibility too. So definitely not the winner of this banner, but not as bad as I think some people are making him out to be. But with that being said, let's get to the main event, and that is CG Lightning. And first, we just kind of have to, go over to here for a second, and we just need to play that Limit Burst. So let's just pause for a second. We're also going to be changing the music because we are fairly far into this video, so let's take a look at CG Lightning's Limit Burst. I gotta say, I'm actually... Oh, look, there's all my videos that I normally watch. Huh. Well, actually, no, YouTube does a lot of suggestions, too. Thanks, YouTube. But yeah, it's a pretty nice little Limit Burst. It looks really, really cool. I think they put a lot of effort into it, so I'm a big, big fan, and I want to say that it looks absolutely cool. So let's talk about CG Lightning, shall we? Now, first of all, CG Lightning is the unit you need to get for the future. Let's just get that right the fuck out of the way. Her TMR is as essential as Cloud's will be. Let's just say that. If you don't know, her Trust Mastery reward is a Materia 100% attack equip when dual wielding. So it's 100% true dual wield. I don't need to explain. I should not need to explain you guys why this is so fucking good. Cloud has been essentially one of the most essential TMRs in the game ever since the true dual hand meta came along, arguably since he came along. But now we're looking at CG Lightning, who has this for true dual wield. Every unit that has true dual wield in the future, or is a dual wield unit, wants this TMR. Getting 2 of this TMR is just, you need to do this. You absolutely 100% need to do this. Yeah, this is it. This is the Trust Mastery that we've been waiting for. Super TMRs with true dual wield, eat your fucking heart out. This is incredible. Now, continuing on the absolutely awesome train is her Super TMR. A sword, 169 attack, 50% attack when equipping dual wield. So that's right, this is a sword with 50% true dual wield on it too, and 1.3 times limit burst damage. Honestly, this thing is so damn insane, I might actually just wail or use my Super TMR Moogle on this thing. This sword could be potentially used for a ton of true dual wield units in the future, as swords are one of the most common items that are thrown away, or that are on a lot of units. So, needless to say, I think this Super TMR, this might be my favorite Super TMR in the entire game, if the true dual wield meta is on the way. And giving a look at Lightning, I actually do kind of believe that. Lightning has a pretty damn high amount of HP, MP, defense, spirit, and attack. Matter of fact, her stats look really, really, really good. As a matter of fact, I didn't do this before, but because well, I'm not bad, but I just, sometimes you're recording these videos and you're like, well, I need to stall for time. Well, nobody's really paying attention. They're only listening to my words, only kind of, so they're not really paying that much attention, so I can just quickly scan through the entire game and just go, oh, there he is. Hello, Axstar. Okay, looking at Axstar's passives, Axstar has basically the same level of, well, just a little bit weaker spirit, definitely a weaker defense, definitely a lower MP, and with stats and passives, both Lightning and Axstar run. This natural kit basically ends up being roughly about the same amount for attack, which is kind of interesting. But Lightning's kit, and we'll focus on Limit Burst first. Limit Burst maxed out is a 7-star level 40 AoE 12 hit that is 1085% physical attack, ignoring 50% defense, debuffs lightning resistance 120% for 5 turns, gives damage modifiers up for multiple abilities for multiple turns. Basically, it's just like Axstar. It is a chaining hit, and I do believe it is at 6 frames, so it is potentially a really solid chaining limit burst as well. So basically kind of Axstar way or CG Hayu. That makes that incredibly valuable, but the 120% AoE debuff for lightning resistance cannot be undervalued. That is so incredibly powerful. So yeah, it's just kind of sick. She also has some lightning, full life, and she can debuff all elements for 40% for 3 turns, just in her magic kit. And she has Curaga too. Pretty cool. But looking at Lightning's kit is, to me, more impressive than Axstar's in some ways. Actually, in a lot of ways. I think CG Lightning may be my preferential, because being mathed out, there was a lot of numbers being thrown around. It seems like if I am to follow what is her BIS build so far, it looks like she can hit well over 3,100 attack. I believe it's about 3,200 attack, which for a dual wield unit is absolutely insane. So Lightning is definitely that powerful. Damage output wise, it looks like she will be pretty much roughly about the average that you will get out of Axstar. This is good because Axstar people, you don't necessarily need to go for this, even though I think the TMR will probably be the most essential TMR over the next 8 months of this game. But looking at her kit, she has debuffs for magic that are basically attacks that also get buffed if a certain attack is used before them, and they are degrading buffs. So starting out with a 70% magic debuff, then a 60%, then a 70% attack. Wait, hold on. Let me read that again. So the ability is a single target, 1 hit, 240% physical attack. It debuffs magic 70% for 4 turns. On the next turn, it debuffs 70% attack for 3 turns. Interesting. If you don't use the ability before it, then it's basically 60%, but that's still a really strong break that is in one of her kit. She also has one that is a debuff for attack first, and then on the next turn it debuffs magic. And she has the same things for defense and spirit, all in different elements. So she has a thunder one, a fire one, a ice, and a water. These are all just really strong. She basically is a pretty damn top tier breaker, because even though she is a dual wield unit, she does have W casting for her breaks, and that is insane to think that they gave her this in her kit. Being able to, double cast her breaks is really, really valuable, because you can get all those breaks split over a couple of turns, but you can get them really nicely. I just absolutely love these elemental break attacks. Now, in her kit has AR chaining, it has Holy Explosion chaining, and it has AT chain. So the major chaining families. And that is all really good. In her kit, she also has the way to add lightning element to her attack, so even if you don't have a lightning element, you can still get her best element directly on her. She has abilities that give modifiers to her other abilities. Also, naturally, she can do an 80% debuff in her 6-star kit, but it gets even better because she has an 8-hit ability that is a single target, minus 120% lightning resist for 3 turns. She actually has that on frickin' demand. That is the biggest lightning debuff in the game, as far as I know. It is incredibly powerful. It is a chaining ability. You're going to be using it constantly. It is just freaking awesome. In her 7-star kit, she also has a massive amount. She has 4 cooldowns. One that is a 2-turn cooldown, which is basically single target, 3-hit, 1100% attack. She has one that is a 150% attack boost for 11 turns and damage modifiers on a whole bunch of abilities with a 500 MP heal for 10 turns on a 14-turn cooldown. So it actually lasts pretty long, but 11 turns. Woo! Nice. 74 MP, self, plus 200% attack for 11 turns, some modifiers on her attacks, and lightning strikes even gets a buff for 11 turns, and that is on a 9-turn cooldown, available turn 1. So, okay, just another really strong ability, different modifiers, but yeah. And her last cooldown is an AoE 60% full break for 1 turn, 300% limit burst fill rate for 1 turn on a 1-turn cooldown, available 1 turn. On a 1-turn cooldown. Okay. Alright, so yeah. Also in Lightning's kit, in her 7-star, she has a single target, backloaded damage, ignoring defense, gives modifiers, blah blah blah. Oh wait, she has another cooldown, an AoE 30 hit at 800%. Physical attack, ignoring 50% defense, self-limit burst fill gauge plus 30, which is basically a full limit burst gauge. Self 50% limit burst damage for 3 turns on a 2-turn cooldown, available turn 3. She has, of course, natural dual wield. She has lightning resistance. She has 30% natural chance to dodge physical attack. She recovers 5% MP per turn. She gets a limit burst crystal per turn. She has natural 10% damage reduction permanently at the start of fight. She's immune to blind, paralyzed, confused. She can double cast her breaks. She has the chaining ability that CG Reagan has. She has extra attack equipped for a sword, a gun. She has an extra attack for dual wielding. She has 50% extra Esper stats. She has 20% chance to counter with a debuff of lightning resist down by 100% for 1 turn. Modifiers up. Limit burst gauge at the start of the fight in her 7-star kit. Extra HP, extra modifiers, and just more attack for equipping a gun. Honestly, here's the thing. Lightning is a holy shit character. I think that she is absolutely just beastly. Her kit is so insanely powerful that I think it actually is outvaluing Axstar, but not in the way of damage. She has natural damage reduction. She has natural physical dodge. She has dual wield that supports it. She has a lot of buffs up. Her TMR and super TMR basically complete her damn kit and give her 200% true dual wield. She can debuff for her main element, but more, besides the fact that she can just chain with all the major chaining families and give herself her element, and the fact that dual wield means that she has incredible flexibility when it comes to finding different weapons with elements. All of this pales in comparison to the fact that she has just a very, very strong limit burst. She can start with that limit burst right at the start of the fight. And that limit burst powers up her other abilities. But she is also a really top tier breaker too. She can essentially replace in your party your breaker. You do not need Orin necessarily if you, well, or I would say you would not even need Orin at all. Just put CG Lightning in your party and you're done. Something like this kind of a character, both Lightning and Hope are very interesting characters because honestly, Lightning does feel kind of next gen because of her, she has better, what feels like better survivability than Axstar, and can output high amounts of damage like Axstar. And the other potential thing that's interesting is she could potentially replace buffers in your party. Potentially meaning that you could get in a chain finisher into your party. Like put CG Ignacio, put in Squall, put in a ton of characters, and if you have Hope there, Hope can put the lightning element on them, and yeah. I honestly think that CG Lightning and Hope are both really good characters for different reasons. If I had to give you a recommendation, get Lightning. Honestly, her TMR is, as far as I know, going to be as like, this is going to be, if I'm going to be stick my reputation on anything, I'm going to say that her Trust Mastery, her regular Trust Mastery, is probably going to be the most essential thing. It is going to be basically Cloud's TMR. And if you play this game, you know about Cloud's TMR, basically, and how valuable it is for the true dual hand meta. Well, this is the true dual wield. Her Super Trust Mastery seems 100% worth it because she is 100% worth it. So yes, both Noel and CG Lightning I absolutely love. And the only other thing to talk about is the Step Up banner, because I have not talked about that. Because there are two Step Up banners. There is a 4,000 Lapis with rainbow rate ups. So basically it has a higher rate to get, you know, Lightning as well as Hope. And it only costs 4,000 Lapis, and you get a 5% trust removal. I do believe it is only one per person, so, you know, only so good. But there is the full step up too. This step up doesn't feel quite as good because there is no general rainbow rate up, and you are only guaranteed the 2 rainbows, so kind of sucks. I was really enjoying last month when we had the rainbow rate up, and it looks like that generosity is gone. But CG Lightning and Hope, both, I think, absolutely really cool units, and I will be going for them starting tomorrow night at midnight. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.